All right, friends. Hi. Welcome to Together in Faith. Give me just a second here because I'm going to get Pastor Lane on the screen as well. And while I do that, uh, feel free to say hello in the chat. We are here together in faith. All right, this will take me just a moment. So go ahead, say hello in the chat. All right, let's see here. Gonna put up some logos. There we go. Hey, Shar. Good to see you here. Let's just say hello right there. There it is. All right. Well, I can see that Pastor Lane is still getting in front of his camera. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and let's try this one, Lane. We're gonna try this and this. How's that? All right. Good, good, good. Shar says hi, as does Colleen. Good to see you tonight, Colleen. Glad you're here. And Pastor Lane, say something there. So let's make sure
Hey,
we
how
can
are
hear
you?
you. All right.
Good evening and happy 2023.
And Gail says hi. Good evening,
Hi,
Gail.
Gail.
Well, friends, um, it's been a crazy day. How many of you saw snow today? Yeah, right. In fact, I took a photo outside of my little porch here. I live downtown, and here is, let's see here, that photo of outside of my window this morning with the snow coming down. Um, if you have a photo of the snow, if some of you took our shutter bugs and took a photo of what was outside your window, feel free to share that. Uh, and I'm like punching at all the little buttons here to try and get the uh, photo to go away. There it is. Still figuring this out. So feel free to share some photos in the chat, and we're going to chat a little bit about the Feast of the Epiphany. That is what our topic is today. But we also have to talk about the fact that we have so much snow that they have canceled school again tomorrow in Sioux Falls. And so we'll announce this again at the end in case you come in late, but we're going to go ahead and make sure that you all know that the office will be closed tomorrow. And we are going to postpone the return to Wednesday night confirmation classes and adult Bible study and the meal. So we're going to postpone that. No activities tomorrow night due to all the snow that we got. Pastor Lane, how much snow do you think we got? I haven't heard what the total is, and I know it's
Well,
varied
yeah,
around the city.
the news here at supper time was saying 12.5 inches in Sioux Falls. If you go a little further, Del Rapids had 17 inches, and it all kind of depends on where you're at in the city, right? But 12 and a half inches seems to be kind of the norm. So
Okay.
thankfully, a lot of the emergency routes are open and flowing and traffic is going, but it's all the neighborhoods where they just don't get plows in. So in my neighborhood, I don't know that I can get out of my neighborhood with my car the way it is right now. And I know Wayne also today tried to leave his neighborhood to go to church for something and couldn't do it and had to turn around and go home. So hopefully, if any of you had to be somewhere today, you were able to do that. Otherwise, people are just kind of hunkering down and waiting for snow to clear.
Yeah, so stay home, stay safe, and we do have these Wednesdays at Eastside, and we'll be not doing it tomorrow. So tomorrow night, um, we won't be gathering together just so we can stay safe and let plows clear. But starting next Wednesday, we'll be back to our schedule with meal, study, and rehearsals. And I'm assuming then, and I think I'm right here when I say this, that no bell rehearsal tomorrow night either. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
enough bell ringing from shoveling. So
Yeah, right. There it is. Okay, good. Well, we're going to talk briefly about the Feast of the Epiphany, which is a fixed feast day in the church here. It always happens on January 6th, and so it's happening uh, on this Friday. And so the readings for the Feast of the Epiphany are something that we don't typically get unless that day happens on a Sunday. And so I want to share with you two of the assigned readings for our study tonight. But before we do that, let's say hello to Jackie Swiden. Hi, Jackie. Glad you're here
hi,
tonight.
Wyden.
And to Judy. Good to see you.
Hey, Judy, are you in Arizona or are you in the snow? Curious
Yeah, let us
minds want.
know. Yeah, in fact, inquiring minds want to know. So if you're in the snow, send us a snow photo. If you're in Arizona, send us a cactus photo. All right. And we have Carol. Good to see you tonight, Carol. And
Hey.
let's see here. Happy 23. Sun went around for a year and we all made it. That's true, Shar. Glad,
That's right.
glad. Happy 23 to you also. And to Gail. Uh,
Oh, of
yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Rub it in. Rub it in. Uh,
course.
oh. Well, I hope you helped him out, Char. And Judy is saying no snow here. I think that's a hint that maybe Judy's in Arizona.
Yep.
And Carol says in Omaha, no snow in Omaha.
Oh, in
So Judy
Omaha.
might be in Omaha.
Well, you planned a good time to go south.
Yeah. And Donna says, Happy New Year, Donna. All right. I think we've got,
What's the situation with Donna, I wonder?
yeah. Where is Donna? Is Donna up in North Dakota?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they got the snow that we got. This snow kind of came up from the south, so um, yeah, I think it was kind of raining down in Nebraska and kind of doing that
Hmm.
kind of stuff. But all right,
What's on
well,
your
go ahead.
What's on your cup? It was very curious.
So this was gifted to me for my ordination, and it's by a potter here in Sioux Falls, and they do these images of birds and other things. And so this was made here in Sioux Falls, a piece of original pottery. And so
Huh.
Amy and I got a couple of these different cups made by this potter, whose name I'm forgetting right now. Sorry. This is actually another one of theirs that I just happen to have around me. Keeping well hydrated here in the storm. And let's see, I wanted to share this Isaiah reading, Pastor Lane.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's
be, so this is one of the ones assigned for the Feast of the Epiphany, and I just think it's so interesting. So I'll read for you all Isaiah 60, verses 1 through 6, which is assigned for this Feast of the Epiphany. Here it is, Isaiah 60, 1 through 6. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. For darkness shall cover the earth, and thick darkness the peoples. But the Lord will arise upon you, and his glory will appear over you. Nations shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn. Lift up your eyes and look around. They all gather together, they come to you. Your sons shall come from far away, and your daughters shall be carried on their nurses' arms. Then you shall see and be radiant, your heart shall thrill and rejoice, because the abundance of the sea shall be brought to you, the wealth of the nations shall come to you, a multitude of camels shall cover you, the young camels of Midian and Ephah, all those from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and frankincense, and shall proclaim the praise of the Lord. So that's Isaiah. So, any thoughts, Pastor Lane, of when we hear this on Epiphany?
Well, it sure makes sense hearing that, um, the context of what takes place in Matthew and in these New Testament readings. And Matthew is just good about connecting Old Testament to present circumstances. So it makes all kinds of sense. That would be a part of the story, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Luther comments on this text and about at the end there, the very last part of verse 6 is, "They shall bring gold and frankincense and shall proclaim the praise of the Lord." And he too, of course, connects it to the wise men who come. But then he says there's no mention of the myrrh. And
Yeah,
his take on it is that uh, they don't mention the myrrh because that's the burial perfume, and Jesus
right.
has not yet died, and so therefore Isaiah is prophesying about Jesus, but leaves out the myrrh, or the prophecy leaves out the myrrh with intention, because he has not yet come and lived and died and resurrected. It's so interesting, right?
And depending on your take on that too, um, Isaiah would not be expecting Messiah to come and die. And so as he's prophesying, that's not the Messiah they're looking for, right?
Right.
But king and high priest sure fit the mold.
Hmm.
And so there's a surprise for all of us at the death. And so the New Testament having that myrrh for burial makes all kinds of sense to us today as Christians. But at the time, it would have been quite shocking, I think.
Yeah. Right. Right. Well, let's go ahead and read this gospel for the Feast of the Epiphany, which again we don't get on a Sunday unless the Feast of the Epiphany falls on a Sunday, and so this is the Feast of the Epiphany this year is this Friday. And so I'm going to go ahead and read Matthew. It's Matthew 2. It's the beginning of chapter 2. We're going to read it in our Lutheran Study Bible, and this is chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. And here it is. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word so that I may go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. What what are your and before Pastor Lane, I ask you to share your thoughts on that. Donna did let us know that they got
Yeah.
lots of snow.
Yeah, but that's probably been there since July, right? Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. So, what did you hear in this reading from Matthew. Any insights or thoughts?
Well, hearkening back, we talked before you read it that it's not very often these texts get read in worship unless it's on a Sunday. But they were read in Sunday on the year 2002 because we had a baptism on that day. I have a surprise special guest with us here tonight. Yay,
Ah,
it's Madeline. This is my daughter Madeline, who was baptized on Epiphany in 2002. She was born in November of 2001, but then it just happened to be that the Sunday when everybody was able to be there to celebrate her baptism was January 6th. So this has always been in my mind when we celebrate Epiphany, it reminds me of her baptism. So she happens to be home from college still, snowed in down here, and so I just had to have her come on and say Happy Epiphany because it's her baptismal birthday coming up very soon.
hi, Madeline. All right. Well,
Just
good
say
to
hi
see.
to the all the folks who are online tonight,
Hi, everybody.
and I will let her go back to the stuff she was doing in the other room. But just wanted to bring that in and make that connection because that's a part of my own epiphany. So
Awesome. That's great.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to share their epiphany memories. Those people might be making their own epiphany memories right now,
Yeah.
just in the fact that we've got all this record snow. But we have some references here for there's a happy birthday there and
Thanks,
a
Dave.
hi from Donna back in North Dakota, and thanks, Shar.
Oh, that's
Well,
lovely.
um, there's some interesting history for the church around the Feast of the Epiphany because the early church didn't celebrate Christmas on the 25th. For the first couple hundred years, the big festival was Epiphany, and I hadn't known this until I kind of looked it up. I've been reading a lot of Bonhoeffer lately, and Bonhoeffer was in my sermon this weekend. And so here's what Dietrich Bonhoeffer writes. He wrote a meditation on the Epiphany in January of 1940, which was again as World War II was raging. And so here's what Dietrich Bonhoeffer writes. Epiphany was considered the highest festival of the winter months in the churches. Its origins are in the dark. We know that initially four different events were commemorated on this day. So they commemorated the birth of Christ on the Feast of the Epiphany. They commemorated the baptism of Christ on the Feast of the Epiphany. They commemorated the wedding in Cana and the arrival of the Magi from the East. So we have lots of kind of documents that say that this is what the church did, and we didn't celebrate until the fourth century. The church started celebrating the birth of Christ on December 25th and separated it from the Feast of the Epiphany. So initially, this was the big holiday for the first 300 plus years of the Christian church. Um, and
Yeah.
then as
There's
the church,
there's
go ahead.
there's Easter and Pentecost and Epiphany. Those were the big three. And in this northern hemisphere, connecting Epiphany with light was huge. And my understanding, about 4,000 years ago, the winter solstice was actually on January 6th. And so there was this big Egyptian um, festival that would take place on January 6th, celebrating the winter solstice and the turning of darkness coming to more and more light. And so that got kind of incorporated into this feast season for Christians as well. So lots of connections associated with this particular date, with this particular church holiday. And ironically, now today, we rarely celebrate Epiphany. Now, you will see the Sunday after Epiphany for a number of weeks until we get to Lent, but we really don't do much with Epiphany. Like you said, there's these other connections, baptism of our Lord, and all of these other pieces. And a lot of the Magi stuff people have celebrated rightly or wrongly with the birth of Jesus on Christmas and the stable and all of that. So it kind of gets left by the wayside. But boy, we sure can use more light this time of year. So
Yeah.
I'm all for celebrating Epiphany.
Yep. Yep. Well, Dietrich Bonhoeffer mentions a lot of that too in his reflections. It's just so interesting how, when you get into the history of the church, how the culture of the day really had a lot of influence in what was celebrated. Just like you said,
I,
that winter solstice.
I happened to be in Puerto Rico one year at this time, and they were celebrating Three Kings, which is kind of the end of the 12 days of Christmas into Epiphany. And it was a huge festival. And Gail, you'll appreciate this. It reminded me every bit of Mardi Gras in that it was people in the streets, shoulder to shoulder, celebrating and bands and dancing, and it was just huge. But it had that kind of religious undergirdings to it, but it was certainly a cultural phenomenon celebrating Three Kings.
Yeah, it's great. Well, before we sign off here, Pastor Lane, I wanted to share a short little 3-minute video that I found of the songwriter Melanie DeMore singing this tune that was a part of my sermon called "Lead with Love," and I figured I'd maybe share this video on this Feast of the Epiphany, and then we'd close out. And we've got a few more comments, so stick around because there's some more people commenting on Facebook, and we'll share those comments in a moment. But right now, here is this singer and songwriter Melanie DeMore singing in community this song, "Lead with Love."
Don't leave your sister hanging. You got one foot in front of the other and lead
You're not hearing me. Now
There
you're
we
hearing
go.
me. Ah, well, there it is. To every Together in Faith, just one little technical hiccup. Um,
Yeah,
so
that was very good. I just on Sunday when you were leading that in church, you weren't quite as emphatic as that leader.
true. Well, when you write the song, you feel it, right? So she's the writer, composer of that tune, and
Okay.
just yeah. Well,
Yeah. Well, maybe before we sign off and bid everybody a happy Epiphany here on Friday, just a little teaser, if you will, for next week. As some of you are aware, Pastor Joel and I will be heading to the Holy Land, and we're going to spend some time over there being led by a seminary professor from Luther Seminary on a trip designed for clergy. And so we will be learning all kinds of things, getting some different insights on scripture because of geography and whatnot. And so I'm very excited for that. And also excited about the things we'll be able to share when we come back from that trip with the congregation and with also you here in this format. But before we go, we wanted to take a little time next Tuesday and kind of look at the state of Israel today and what's going on. Because we talk about Israel all the time when we're doing Bible study and looking at the New Testament. But not very many people in my circles really pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on in the Holy Land today, including myself, right? And so we're going to do a little research and a little learning and talk about what's happening in that corner of the world today, which will also be good for Pastor Joel and I to have in our minds when we go over there and start looking at all of these sacred sites and things. So
yeah,
that's next
it's
day.
it's true. I don't know if Pastor Lane, if you were looking at the itinerary, but our leader Michael Chan has set it up in such a way that he's referencing in the various sites that we're visiting some of the upcoming texts that we'll be preaching on. And so he's highlighting a lot of these Matthew texts that are going to be coming up in the coming weeks and months this year. And so Eastside will be bringing some of that back to you in the coming weeks and months. So we're really looking forward to that. Speaking of sharing things, just a few more things to share. Shar says, beautiful song. Uh, and Reen says, good evening, happy birthday, Madeline. And as well as Sandy says, good evening. And Shar also says, the night sky is bright from all the snow. Isn't that lovely? A little bit of light in the darkness. Uh,
Perfect. Perfect.
yeah, so, well, it's really been great to be with you all tonight together in faith and to chat a little bit about the history of the Feast of the Epiphany. And we want to just remind you that because of the snow, the office is closed tomorrow. We will not have Wednesday activities tomorrow night. So, no meal tomorrow night, no bell rehearsal, no study, no confirmation. Stay home, be warm, maybe read through those Epiphany texts, and we'll look forward to seeing you all both next Tuesday for Together in Faith and next Wednesday for the return of all of those activities. Um, Pastor Lane, anything to share before we get to Luther's evening prayer?
That's it. I think it's good to pray that prayer together. It's been good to be in this format with you, Pastor Joel, but also with everybody else. We have been on hiatus since the beginning of Advent, so looking forward to being in this conversation again.
Excellent. Yeah, this has been great. And I think maybe this is one of the few times we've done it this way. We've only done it this way one other time when you and I have been at our homes, and it's worked out pretty well. So, all right. Thanks all for joining us for Together in Faith tonight, and let's end with Luther's evening prayer. I give thanks to you, my heavenly Father, through Jesus Christ, your dear Son, that you have graciously protected me today, and I ask you to forgive me all my sins, where I have done wrong, and graciously to protect me tonight. For into your hands I commend myself, my body, my soul, and all that is mine. Let your holy angel be with me, so that the wicked foe may have no power over me. Amen. Well, friends, it's been great to be with you together in faith, and we look forward to seeing you this Saturday and Sunday this weekend for worship, and of course next week, Tuesday online at 7, and then on Wednesday for all of our activities. And God bless. Stay warm.
Good night.